Going on YouTube. It's about that time again. Now we tune in to Reality Talk News. Now this is day 4 of the Keefe D and the Tupac case of the incident. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. It was a shooting outside of the courtroom during trial 3. So what that shooting come from, I don't know. So we're gonna get into some scripts that going on where it says it was a shooting reported erupt outside around the time Tupac's family had left Las Vegas courthouse for lunch on the second day of Keefe D. Davis murder trial. So Davis, 63, was charged of Shakur's 1996 killing, which is prosecutors alleged that the carry out or revenge of Shakur's entourage attacking Davis' nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, a few hours early at the MGM Grand after the Mike Tyson fight. So now, on Tuesday, August 18th, the jury was shown at the casino surveillance video of the clashing, and the camera was panning back and forward in the MGM Grand show of a group of people beating and kicking someone in the ground. So the video had showed Shakur and his entourage move quickly through the crowd building in the minutes after, with some men jogging to keep up the surveillance footage, then show security and police arriving at the scene and talking to Anderson, who was wearing a number 13 Dan Burrito Miami Dolphin jersey. So a few hours later, Shakur was riding a black BMW with Suge Knight, was gunned down by someone in a white Cadillac carrying Davis Anderson and 2 other men inside. So Dean O'Kelly, which is the former Vegas PD, was testified that finding several cartridges in the street at the scene or revolver, receiving report that the suspect vehicle was a white Cadillac, potentially occupied by the 4 black men. And then he also said that he checked areas that the frequently while working in the police gang unit to look for it. So graphic autopsy photos of Shakur were also shown that jurists that forensic pathologists detained the rapper fatal injuries in the extended force. So the doctor may have saved his life after he was shot nearly 30 years ago. So following the testimony, the courtroom was dismissed for a lunch break. Tupac's sister, Sakawa, said Shakur paused outside the courtroom on her cover the cause. Thank you very much for being here, she said, for covering this. Thank you. She then walked over to her and Tupac's brother, Mopreen Shakur, who was nod in approval. So moments after the family left the vehicle, 6 police officers ran down the street as a heavy law enforcement present decent of downtown Las Vegas following reports of a gunfire. 7 more officers arrived at the scene holding a large weapon. Certain calls came into dispatch shortly after 1 p.m. about shots reported heard inside of a business in a 500 block of a Casino Center Boulevard near Bonneville Street, according to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. It was a shooting going on up the street from there. So I don't know if they taking aim at the family member. I don't know it, but I don't think it's not gonna. I don't think the sister and the brother got nothing to do with that. I think it was something else going on. I think that's a whole new another case there. So officers responding to the reports of unable to locate the victim or confirm a shooting scene. Police before told Peoples, from where I know there was no one critically injured, at least at the moment. The source says, but there was some type of shooting incident. Certain police vehicles was also seen outside of Starbucks near the corner of Casino Center Boulevard and Clark Avenue as officers investigate. So KLAX reported dispatchers told officers that appearing gunshot came from inside a Starbucks. So that's don't have nothing to do with the case, with Tupac's situation case. So the investigation remained ongoing and no other deals were immediately available. The police response did not disrupt the trial. Tupac's family later returned to the courthouse to hear testimony from James McDonald, a 61-year-old former associate of Knight and Reggie Wright Jr., who served as a head of security for Death Row Records at the time Shakur's fatal shooting. So both men testified that their knowledge of the event surrounding the shooting and the people connected to Death Row Records at the time. David faces one count of murder with deadly weapon in connection with Shakur's death. He pled not guilty. The proceeding has expected that the last approximately 1 month with an extended witness list over 200 names of Suge Knight and Shakur family are amongst them. Now, what I'm going to tell you this, that they had got up and they said that they had took pictures and they was taking pictures of Tupac and they was all on their way up there to the 662. And these people was not sure about the white Cadillac was standing next to them. Again, Gaddafi saw the whole thing, but was died from an accidental gunshot wound to the head in 1999, 2000, somewhere around that. And they had 200 names around the time that they had listed. They, what it is, they don't want to do the snitching. The snitch code, which is the gang code of snitching, that you never snitch. But Keefe D was supposed to snitch on Mob James, and he's supposed to snitch on Suge, and he's supposed to snitch on some more other people. That's what he's supposed to do. Hit the like button. He's supposed to be snitching on some more other people. And I'm not sure what really happened there. Otherwise, all I say is they seen a white Cadillac, and that was it. And they pulled up next to him. They pull out a gun and they bust. At first, they had passed the gun to Andre. Andre was scared. Baby Lane took the gun from Andre and he ended up busting at him. They refused to use the gun. And I don't know what they said in that Cadillac. And so Davis, 63, was indicted in 2023 of one count of murder with a deadly weapon, has pleaded not guilty. Davis is a well-known, one of the last living witness to the shooting that killed Shakur on February 7, 1996. Shakur was in the BMW with Miriam Suge Knight in a convoy of cars. When the white Cadillac pulled next to this car and began shooting, the rapper died 1 week later in the hospital. So he died 1 week later. So if Keefe D plead not guilty, so that means Baby Lane killed him, and that is gone close. That case is closed. But he's going to get the conspiracy charge. That's what he's going to get, the conspiracy charge to commit murder. That's what it's supposed to. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to charge him with the murder. They're going to charge him from conspiracy to commit murder. Now, this case going to last like a whole month. It's supposed to be last a month. Now, investigators knew about Davis for years before his indictment of defendant even admitted to being in the Cadillac in interviews in a 2019 tell-it-all book, Compton Street Legend. And that Mario Davis was that said was he was in the front of the vehicle and two people was in the back seat of the car that fired the shots. The book also claimed that Davis talked to the investigators about his prisons of the sentence in 2010. When he was facing life in prison from unrelated drug charges, they offered to let me go for running a criminal enterprise and numerous alleged murders for the truth about Tupac and Biggie murders. He also wrote Alden to the murder of Christopher Wallace, known as Biggie Smalls, or Notorious B.I.G., was shot and killed 6 months later. After Shakur, they promised they would share the indictment and stop the grand jury if I helped them out. Davis was the only one survived was in that Cadillac. They supposed to promise they wasn't going to charge him for them drug charges. You remember? I said that. Remember they said he got busted with all that water and some other drugs. They was going to charge you if you cooperate with us. We'll take that off the table. If you tell us about Biggie, Tupac, and Biggie Smalls, we will not charge you for this murder. This is what this is all about. It's about the drugs, and that's what that dude yesterday. That's what that dude was saying on the witness stand about the drugs, about the PCP. Hit the like button. They told him, if you give us the murder of Tupac and Biggie Smalls, we will not charge you for this. We're going to throw it out. Because you already got caught with that. You already got caught with that already. Because they's going to use that drugs to charge him with that. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. These motherfuckers, this system will play you cold. Because at the end of the day, you're doing all this for nothing. You're doing all this for nothing. But at the end of the day, you're going to be sitting in jail and you're going to do all that time. Because those people in the system made a damn fool out you. Now you're sitting there looking stupid. Like I said, these West Side, let me tell you, these West Side niggas, man, they make a whole lot of mistakes. Y'all got it all wrong. Y'all got it wrong. Y'all got this whole mistake. Y'all got it all wrong. Y'all ain't make not one mistake, a dozen of mistakes. Just because you want to get a free get out of jail card, or you want to be free, or I'm the one. Now you want to rat on somebody, or you want to rat. That's what you is, a damn rat. Hit the like button. You a rat. Own up to it. Admit it that you did it. Not to bring. You see other people admit it. They not gonna bring nobody else into it. They bringing other people in it. Now, in pre-trial feelings, Davis' defense that they argue the statement should not be used against him, containing that the descriptions of the shooting were done for entertainment purposes and to make money. His defense had also cited that the immunity agreement signed 6-7 years later with federal and local prosecutors. Prosecutors had counted that the immunity had limit, and then they had strong evidence against the defendant. Months before Davis' arrest, police raided his home in Nevada, seizing multiple computers, cell phones, and a hard drive and bullets. A detective involved in a search to report finding 2 bins of photographic that including magazines and numerous clippings related to Shakur's 96 death. At the time of his death, 25-year-old Shakur has released 4 studio albums. He nominated for 6 Grammy Awards. His song, How Do You Want It? California Love, which is the bite of his death, reached #1 on the Billboard. How Do You Want It? California Love is #1 on the Billboard, on a 100 chart. So I'm going to tell you this. I don't get what's going on into this situation. Now, day 4, I'm going to tell you about day 4. Day 4, which is Devon Lee gang member, testified that he was appearing under the court subpoena and did not want to participate in the trial. And the other one's defense says the described joined the Southside Compton Crips in the mid-90s through a one-on-one fight where Orlando Angela made sure he was treated fairly. And then another situation that identified Davis was the high-level drug hustler within the gang and noticed that Anderson was Davis' nephew. And then another statement saying that outlined gang rivalries between the Southside Compton Crips and Ma Paru Bloods. Death Row Records considered it with the relationship between Southside Crip and Bad Boy Records. And then another statement that the tale of summer of '96 fighting with the Lakewood Mall locker and void in the Southside Compton Crips for Death Row affiliate with Trayvon Lane's Death Row medallion chains been snatched. And then another incident that under the cross examination, Lee confirmed that he worked as an informant source of the DEA ATF task force starting around 2006 and received approximately $5,300 in payments, known as 5,300. The jury heard that the audio recording in 2008 interview preferred that Davis discussed Shakur's killing. They was on an interview. They made him say all these things about the interview. They say all these things about the interview. And that's what day 4 is. So we're going to get more about this. Thank you for watching Reality Talk News.